You're listening to Until They Sleep. Please note, this programming may not be appropriate for younger listeners. It's spooky movie time, and even though we've binge watched the Conjuring franchise this year, Halloween and its main man, The Shape, aka Michael Myers, is always on someone's mind. Listen in on our conversations about our spooky movie watching evolution over the years. Thanks for listening.
Hello and welcome to Until They Sleep. I am Daniel.
And I'm Chantal.
Welcome for the ride and thank you for the time to listen to us. It is October and it is one of our favorite holiday times, mainly because it stops getting hot for me and it's Halloween time. And in our family, we love Halloween and I am a big Halloween buff. And it's also episode 69. So I figured
it's your favorite
time.
number?
Yeah, it's my favorite number. We'll just have a little fun and just goof around here. So I don't know what most people do for Halloween. As I know for some people, it's just an average kind of just trick or treat and go out. For us, you know, we like to decorate. Our house goes all out. My wife has a Halloween town. Yeah, it's really cool.
The inside of our house is more decorated than the outside.
Yeah, and I think it's mainly because it's just for us, right?
It really is just for us.
Our kids are and us. Like it's just cool. I think it all started. Well, tell us how you started it because it was your thing.
Well, I mean, growing up, I don't really remember my parents decorating for Halloween, but I loved everything spooky and creepy when I was a teenager. So I just always vowed that when I had my own place, I would decorate it. And so slowly I started a collection of little houses and just random things. And you'd be amazed what you can find at like the Dollar Tree and the 99-cent store back in the day. Yeah, when it existed, but when that was all I could afford. So I mean, quality wise, people say what they want about those little cheapy stores, but man, I mean, all these years later, I still have those little houses, those porcelain houses. So
when we first moved in together, it was funny because we were like piss poor and we were both just divorced, so we were pretty much starting from scratch. Yeah, like my wife said, she ended up going to some like little stores and getting little cheapy things to just put in the house, and I thought it was cute. And it was something that was awesome. That was ours, you know, something that we did. And I have a collection of like all the rat rods, kind of like Hot Wheel cars, and so she used those with the town, and I liked how it was integrated, and so it just became like a tradition for us.
In that sense, in my previous life. My previous relationship, my ex didn't really celebrate much of any holiday. So when we never really had our own place to decorate, so I never could express myself in that way. It really wasn't until I got with you that I had somebody to share those things with, because we both enjoy this time of year.
You know, I love it. For me, I guess growing up like in a Catholic house and also with an uptight dad that didn't like celebrating too much stuff, we barely ever got like any Halloween stuff. I remember my mom did do some Halloween stuff for me, but it wasn't kind of like how we do. It was just small, simple stuff. And so, yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's something that I enjoy. I liked it. I have an older brother that ruined it for me. He tried to be in the good half-brother, trying to scare the crap out of me. He had me sit down through a marathon of movies. And I was desensitized as a kid to scary movies that scare the crap out of me. But there was one that just I fell in love with, and I really enjoyed.
And so, which movie was that?
That was actually Halloween. That made me a big Michael Myers fan. And I don't know, I tapped something like a third dimension in my inner being of something that I just started seeing things differently, you know.
So psycho.
Yeah, but it was cool. I mean,
but when we first got together, you weren't into Michael stuff. I just don't remember you.
Oh, I was,
because you were into like House of a Thousand Corpses, all this like Rob Zombie stuff. Like that's the stuff I remember when we first got together.
Yeah, it was more gory,
19
right?
years ago.
Yeah, that was more gory stuff. But I always had the love for Mike Myers. It's just it wasn't something that was like easy to access as it is now. I think it wasn't like
Maybe.
popular. Like you couldn't find it, you couldn't see it.
Well, now you can order everything online,
Yeah, yeah, we
so
come a long way. But for me, it just became like a nice little tradition between us. And then whenever the girls would come over, they like to see in the little Halloween towns. And
yeah.
then we had our own kids and also enjoyed it. And we had a pretty much an October baby. Our first one was an October
Yes,
baby.
he was.
We got married in October, so October is like a big thing for us, a big month for us. So yeah, and we started doing our own little traditions. Like I said, we were piss poor. You started buying little things. I had some little toys, and
And
it just
I
became a
had
thing.
some stuff of my own because did have my own place for a while before you and I got together. But I think it was it was an easy transition for me because I collected a lot of gothic style things to begin with. So my place was just kind of weird anyways. Like
Right.
decorated with dragons and fantasy things already.
Yeah, but it's funny how you want to consider fantasy kind of like scary stuff, for the normal people. But fantasy and scary are two different things.
Yeah, well, but at Halloween, I mean, people still do fantasy.
Yeah,
Like,
because I guess it
if
makes it acceptable.
from an outsider looking in, if you walk into a house full of fantasy, dark fantasy, it's not even like bright fancy, it's not like fairies. I didn't have my house, I had like dark things. I have, dragons, and I had things on witchcraft, and so I had these like dark fantasy type things. And I think, again, from the outside looking in, it's an easy transition into more gothic, Halloweeny type things versus, someone who's into, fairies and angels and,
Right.
so.
What's funny? Like you were talking, you were saying earlier, and that you didn't know about my like love for Michael Myers and stuff like that, and it kind of hurts me a little because it just shows me how I kept that one to myself.
You
like,
did.
that
You
secret to
really
myself.
did keep that one to yourself for a long time.
You were talking about like Ralph zombie movies, and you're right. At that time I was really into Otis, and I enjoyed
And Captain Spaulding.
It was more Otis, I think. Captain Spaulding was kind of funny, but it was Otis the one that had me going. From House of a Thousand Corpse and Devil's Rejects and Three from Hell and stuff. But Three from Hell wasn't out yet. So yeah, it was more like the gory stuff, but it was the
And
stuff he had to say.
Texas Chainsaw
Stuff he had to say and
Massacre.
everything. But for me, Michael was the one. It wasn't that he scared me. It was something about the psychology about him. There was like a mystery about him, because he didn't talk. It was just a pale mask, and he just went around killing certain people, not everyone.
Unless you had in his way.
Yeah, and it was just funny how it was like usually people after having sex. Like I noticed kind of like it was just kind of weird.
Taboo.
I mean, it was a little scary, but it's just He intrigued me. My favorite scene from the first one, I remember. I think I shared that with my oldest brother, and he wasn't very happy with me. He was like, kind of messed up. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why I kept it to myself. I didn't want to be kind of judged, I guess, or labeled to a certain point of view. And then I think later on in life, I brought it up like in junior high or high school, and people kind of looked at me like a weirdo again. So it was funny for me, but I was like, I'll just keep that to myself. And like we said, it was like it kind of disappeared for a while. It just the movies got so raunchy and so bad for Michael Myers that it was kind of like a joke. And so, people couldn't take it seriously. And it wasn't until later on where, Rob Zombie kind of remade it and it kind of became popular again and it was resurfacing.
And do you enjoy those versions better or equally?
I enjoyed it when I first saw it because I guess I was in that Rob Zombie phase where it was just a slasher, period. And there was two movies and he tapped it in a different way, like a different meaning of family. But now when I looked at him again, I was like, I think I like the new timeline better. Until the last movie, I was like, okay, I think they kind of killed it there. So I kind of
Do you want to recap that? Like what the old timeline versus the new timeline?
Well, apparently there's 5 timelines. I don't know if you guys have seen that video or heard about it. So there's a total of 5 timelines for the whole Michael Myers thing,
Okay.
which technically speaking his name is Michael Myers. It's called Michael Myers, but in reality, he is in the credits and everything. Fun fact, right? It's just the shape. You never actually see him being called Mike Myers or
In the
or the
credits?
boogeyman or everything. Yeah, in the credits, he always shows up as the shape.
Interesting. I've never
Yeah.
noticed that.
So another funny story for me was like I was never a Trekkie. I never cared for Star Trek growing up,
Yeah.
and
But his
so
mask.
yeah, but I was intrigued to learn that that was like so broken, or whatever, and they just found like a William Shatner mask and they painted it white, and that was it. And that mask was kept for a while by the actor, and it was so badly damaged because of a smoke damage from cigarettes that they kind of had to kind of repaint it because it was kind of yellowish. So the mask was used on part 1 and part 2, but somebody kept it after the second one, and they could never find it again. So on the other ones, they had to remake masks. That's why the mask never looked the same. So in the first 2 movies, it's the same exact mask.
Mask.
Yeah.
Okay.
So part 1 and part 2. So those are just random little fun facts, right? And the movies from the California, and they had to recycle leaves and throw them again to make it look like it was in Illinois.
In fall.
Yeah, so that's funny because California's not like that, right?
No, we don't have that weather.
Yeah, I was just like I'm full of like random little stupid knowledges about the movie. That's how much I like it. Like the house was moved, but sold, and it was used as offices now or apartments. It's still there. It's for sale. It's a couple mil for now, I think. Still,
Okay.
I don't know if it's ever sold. So 5 timelines. So the original timeline, I'm just gonna go over it real quick, right? Which is Halloween in 1978,
Okay.
Halloween 2 in 1981. Then it was Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers in 1988. Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers in 1989. And then Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers in 1995. So, like I said. And then timeline number 2.
Oh, okay. So that was the first timeline.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
like, I call that the original timeline.
Okay.
And then I have the H2O timeline,
Oh, okay.
which is timeline number 2 for me.
That's the dumb one.
Halloween, it's Halloween, right? The original part 1 from 1978. And then it repeats Halloween part 2 from 1981. So it's part of the original timeline right there. But then you cut off part 4 and 5 and 6. And you go to Halloween H2O, which is supposed to be 20 years later from 1978, which is
Okay.
1998.
Okay.
Right? That came out in 1998. It was kind of like a celebration thing.
Okay.
That's the timeline where like Jamie Lee Curtis changes her name and she's like a dean at some private school, and Josh Hartnett is her son, and Michael finds out that he has a nephew, so he has to kill like the family.
Okay. So in the original timeline, she's not his sister.
She is his sister.
She is his
On the
sister.
original, yeah, he is. They are siblings.
I'm so confused. I always thought that she was just the neighbor's babysitter.
She was a neighbor's babysitter. She was adopted by the family, which was a baby, supposedly. And so she was, yeah, that's her sister. Then there's timeline number 3, which is like a reboot, which I would call that the Rob Zombie cut, which was just Halloween, but this one's made in 2007, right? Because it's the Rob Zombie one.
Okay.
Then you got Halloween 2, which is 2009. And that's the Rob Zombie one. That's timeline number 3. And timeline number 4, which is the new one, the newest timeline, which goes, you borrow part 1 from 1978, right? Halloween
Okay.
from 1978. And then you go to Halloween 2018.
Okay.
So they named it exactly the same. So we got Halloween and Halloween.
Okay. Is that the Rob Zombie one or a
No,
different one?
this is a different one.
Okay.
Okay, this is Halloween and then Halloween. And so there's no Halloween 2. So they are not brother and sister in this one.
Yeah, and this one.
And
she's
this
just
timeline,
the
the new
neighbor.
timeline, yeah, and this timeline is just she's just the babysitter. Nothing happens after part 2. It's like it picks up from Halloween, and then it goes Halloween Kills, which came out in 2021, and then Halloween Ends, which came out like a year later, 2022. These are the ones that the baby watched with us when she was tiny, and she woke up while I was watching Halloween Kills, and you were with me, trying to get caught up, and then we were watching Halloween and then Halloween Kills, and then she was looking forward to Halloween Ends with me the following year.
Yeah, she was like 2.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then the fifth timeline, which to me doesn't really count, it was just a standalone movie. They were trying to get away from the whole Michael Myers, which was the original Halloween 3, which was like, I really don't care for that one, so I don't even know when the hell that was made. I think it was 1985 or something like that. That one was, I think it was called Season of the Witch. So it's just like some random story about witches and curses and blah, blah, blah.
Okay. All right. So it's not until that last one where they're not siblings.
Yeah, the last
But
one.
in the original, she's adopted.
She's adopted by another family, and
But she's really his sister.
yeah, which is what Rob Zombie did in his movies. He took that and made her his sister and had her adopted, and that's why he's after her, because he's trying to reunite the family.
Okay.
He's trying to kill them all, so to bring them back together, the mom.
But in the original, he didn't kill his parents. He only killed his sister.
Only his sister, yeah.
So, okay. It's movies. It's confusing. That's weird. Okay.
Yeah, when you have so many timelines, right? It's just, I guess that's what happens with movie studios. Just end up getting movies and just trying to pump stuff out to make.
Okay. I mean, he's been around for a long time. I mean, because I think about Freddy. I mean, Freddy's got a long franchise too.
Yeah, Freddy was enjoyable for me when I was a kid. I did kind of like it. Nightmare on Elm Street #3 was the one
I wasn't allowed to watch it. I actually snuck watch it with my aunt, my mom's little sister. She let me watch it one time with her at her house. That was the first time. I was maybe 10 the first time I saw Friday the 13th. So that would have been 1990s, early 90s. Mm-hmm. So, and then it was the other one, Jason.
Right, Jason Voorhees. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is funny, right? Because like in the first movie, he's not really the killer. It's his mom, but whatever.
His mom's the killer in the first movie?
Yeah, we don't know about Jason until later on the other ones.
Oh, see, I don't even remember that series of movies at all. I just remember that he comes out of the water in one of them. And I know he's obsessed with his mom's head, like an altar.
Right.
That's really, and then him killing camp kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. So.
So.
Okay, back to Michael.
No, we don't have to the shape. Oh, to Michael. Yeah, Michael. So I guess after Rob Zombie were saying and it became cool, and I was like, oh, dude, I always like Michael. And the scene, in case anybody's wondering, and not to spook you guys off, it's on the very first Halloween, and there was that very first kill that he kills that guy in the kitchen, and he like puts that knife on him and hangs him from like kind of like the door.
Mm-hmm. The one where he tilts his head and looks at
it. I love that. It's like a person that collects butterflies and is admiring their work when they pin something up.
This does sound familiar. You've said
I've
this before.
said that to you, yeah. So it's like, oh man, like he's just taking it in. Like there's something about it.
His art.
The art, yeah, the art.
Okay, we don't condone killing. We're not saying go make art by killing people. Just
it's a movie.
We're talking about a movie.
I think it was. I think he's actually based on an actual.
I had heard something along that line that he was based on a possible, like a real life person, but just loosely based, like not completely based. I don't remember. I feel like we did talk about this.
Yeah, I'm actually looking it up, and it says that Michael Myers is inspired by a true story.
Like from the 60s?
Yeah, I guess a patient at Western Kentucky University, John Carpenter, who's the director and co-writer of the first Halloween film, was inspired by a patient he met while visiting a psychiatric hospital as a student. Carpenter described the patient as having an unsettling evil stare. Carpenter also said the creepy encounter he had while attending Western Kentucky inspired the character. So, Yeah,
And
like
that was in the 60s, right?
hmm
What year?
Mike
Yeah.
Myers
Does it
is
say what year?
no, I don't see
I
a
feel
year.
like it was in the 60s. If I'm correct, I don't quite remember, but okay, so it was inspired by someone he saw. But I mean, again, loosely inspired because they're not talking about the details of this character or like what it is he did. He just said that
Yeah, he was just inspired
he
by
was
a person.
scary.
Yeah,
He
it
was
was scary.
scared
Yeah,
by
because
him.
even I'm looking at this one thing by Sportskida or something.com. It says Ghostface is inspired by Gainesville Ripper. Leatherface is supposedly based on the Butcher of Plainfield, while Michael Myers, however, is not directly based on a true story.
Yeah, not directly
Yeah,
based.
his
Yeah.
creation is influenced on a combination of real life experiences and urban legends. So
Okay.
that's what's up with Mikey.
Okay. All right.
But so that makes me think about like why do people? You asked me that question, and I was like, why do people like horror movies?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like we've recorded on this before, or maybe it's just because we've talked about it before. But I I have looked this up in the past, and I know it's people. I guess it gives us a sense of it's like an adrenaline rush.
Yeah, exactly. It's a
Yeah,
stimulation
it,
factor.
it gives us an adrenaline in the safety of our own home, basically, right? I mean, like forever people have been telling each other ghost stories, around campfires or just in general, friends hanging out together. It's like, oh man, I had this experience or I had this experience, whether it's true or not, right? But we as a humans, humanity seems to be obsessed with the idea of being scared by something, right? The creepy things in the dark. And what better to scare you than a boogeyman, right? The thing that can hurt you and
Right.
not just a ghost that can't. So,
Talking about boogeyman, it's like right. There's all these like interpretations of boogeyman. Everybody has their point of boogeyman, right? The kukui or whatever your culture is. I don't
yeah.
know what, but when it comes down, for me, which boogeyman was the creepiest for me?
A candy man?
No,
Who?
the one from the cartoon of Ghostbusters.
The cartoon?
Yeah, there was a
Of
cartoon,
Ghostbusters.
and
Yeah, I remember it, but I
there
don't
was a
remember the
boogeyman, and
boogeyman.
he had like a big nose and a big head, and then he had like ram's feet, and he wore like a blue coat, and he was
Oh
kind of
gosh, that's so
pusky.
specific. I don't remember that.
He kind of looked like kind of like a Joker, I guess. It was a weird looking thing, but that one I did not like. I didn't
Well,
like
maybe we'll
that.
have to find a link of it and post it.
So
I
let me
don't remember that character.
let me tell you real quick. Like so, according to for Google AI, it says people like horror movies for a variety of reasons, including stimulation. Horror can be mentally and physically stimulating, triggering the release of adrenaline, endorphins, and dopamine. It's a novel experience. However, it can provide a unique experience that is not possible in real life, like living out an alternate reality. It's also curiosity. Horror can satisfy curiosity about the darker side of humanity.
Yeah.
Learning. Horror can be a learning experience that helps people understand fear and push boundaries. And we have a sense of accomplishment, which is watching a horror movie can give people a sense of accomplishment similar to completing a difficult task.
Like saying I lived through it and didn't die.
Yeah, like
That's
I
crazy.
like I'm not a little bitch. I finished the whole movie, even though I was scared shitless, and I had a pillow that I was
Well,
hugging.
and it's funny that they reference the idea of, living something in life because, I mean, honestly, it's not always fantasy. Like some of these murder movies, I mean, there's real people out there who have enacted horrendous killings in real life, which is why, there's so many true life scary stories for podcasts,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
murder
yeah.
mysteries and things like that. So it's not all just fantasy. I mean, there are people who have truly lived through horrendous massacres and slaughters of their families or just people they know, or being a sole survivor of something. So it's kind of crazy that for the majority of us who don't ever have to experience those things in real life, we want to be scared by it. We want to hear the story. thinking back on some of the murder mysteries I've heard, like especially that one where the dad, massacred his whole family, and where they ended up turning their house into a museum, and people showed up once they found out about the murder just to touch the blood, to see the house, like, I'm like,
I mean,
that's crazy,
there's
right?
different things. I mean, look at the Friday movie house, right? Like Friday is a staple funny comedy movie, and there's people that go to that house and take pictures out front and pay the people $5 to do that.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is, or that Fast and the Furious house. Even though they're props for movies,
Yeah.
like even now we're talking
The
about something
curiosity
and
of
now something
people.
that really happened. So people are like, oh no, maybe. I mean, let's talk about. We've been watching the Conjuring movies, right?
Oh,
The whole
yeah.
Conjuring universe.
Oh, yes.
That was our.
We're not done yet, right?
Yeah, our October thing that we just started going off and watching them all in order, right? Mm-hmm. And we talk about, we're telling the kids too about that whole house and how it's a museum now, and people want to go and they've touched the Annabelle doll, and then they're sending apologies. Yeah, and then they're sending apologies and letters because something has happened to them. So like there was that whole movie, right, where that girl was just curious and touched everything, and they released all these spirits.
Well, they said that one was.
Yeah, they take
Very
some
loosely
liberties, but
based,
I mean
but
that's just to let
the
people know,
idea.
don't be stupid,
Yeah.
don't mess with this, right?
Yeah.
So we're all, and there's a reason why horror movies are so essential and so many people watch. I think for us, like for me, it's one of those macho things, like, oh, you didn't watch Friday the 13th? Oh, what a baby, be a man, dude, watch it. That was my thing when I was like a kid.
Yeah.
When I would be like, oh, I already watched all the Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, I saw the Friday the 13th. Yeah, I saw Hellraiser. I've seen all those horror movies.
But there's.
Oh, how do you watch those? You must be messed up, And then
Yeah.
you get labeled that goth kid or that dark kid or the psychopath because you dress nice, but you love horror movies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your whole not Friday the 13th, your whole House of a Thousand Corpses. I watched that with you a couple times, but I had my limit of how many times I could watch those movies. You definitely enjoy blood and gore more than I do, and I'm definitely more of a dark fantasy type person.
Yeah, and I think those movies are more like pushing the boundaries to see what your limit is.
I mean, but think about how messed up the creators' heads are. Honestly.
Oh no, yeah.
How messed up are, like, even some books that I've read? Like I've read some Anne Rice books that are, really messed up. And I'm just like, gosh darn it, what the heck is wrong with their heads? And then in turn, one could say, what's wrong with you for reading those things? But, and what's wrong with us for watching those things? And I don't know. It's,
yeah.
I guess you're right. I guess what is wrong with us? But I mean, we're actually pretty nice people. It's just curiosity. I mean, like they say, it's curiosity.
There was those videos when I was a kid called Faces of Death, and they were like real videos of things that go wrong, right? Hostage situations.
That other one, 1,000 Ways to Die or something.
Right, yeah. But it was an actual video that weren't censored, right? It was kind of like a black market thing. And I could only see a couple of them. There was like certain things where I was like, nope, can't watch this no more. Like this is real stuff. Like this is not right. But I had a niece that watched every single one of them and loved all of them.
Oh, and I can imagine which one.
You know what I mean? And I was like, all right. So it's kind of like the limit of torturing people. You're talking about books, and I read, I read a lot of those military action, books and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I've told you before, it was like, oh man, they were torturing this guy in this book, and it was so descriptive. Like, I know the author has probably done this in real life.
Or he did his homework.
Yeah, and it was like, damn, So what's the limit? Like, do you read it? Do you go through it? Do you push it? Like, where do you draw the line? That was the thing with House of Thousand Corpses. It was gory. And a lot of people thought, oh, that was a stupid movie, or oh, I drew the line here, or I couldn't watch this. And then you get to, like, was it there was Rejects, and you're like, it pushes you to another limit. It's like a homage to, Texas Chainsaw Massacre and other things all put together. And it's you're like, but it's gory, it's messed up.
Isn't that the thing right now with the Terrifier movies?
So yeah, I was going into that, right? We haven't had, like, Rob Zombie pushed that limit, and he got criticized, and he has his cult following, and we haven't had any like iconic horror characters, right? We think about Chucky, we think about Jason, we think about Mike,
Yeah, the old monsters, like the old crazies.
right? And we haven't
Yeah.
had anyone until now. Now that we have, the Terrifier guy. Oh my goodness, I'm drawing a brain fart. I can't remember what do we call him? Art.
Art.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Art. And
And we haven't seen these.
oh, I seen the
You
first
saw
one.
the first one and you said it was super weird and you
Right.
didn't finish it.
Right.
And you told me that you tried to get me to watch it, and I think I'm thinking it was also too weird, and I just walked away. But now I guess it's on part 3,
Yeah.
and people can't even finish the movie because of how gory it is.
Yeah, they can't get past the first 5 minutes, I guess. Now, there's a lot of
Interesting.
people walking out within the first 5 minutes because it's one of those. It's something like that,
Yeah, and we don't know because we haven't seen it, so
Yeah,
we
and
can't
so
really speak to that.
That makes me want to watch it. The fact that it pushed some people's limit makes me want to
To
watch
see
it.
if you can handle it.
Yeah,
and I
but-
guess that's the thing, right? That's what you're saying is that whole macho side is to see if you can get through it.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not as bad as people say it is, but are we that messed up if we don't think it's as bad?
But so that also led me to think that as I'm getting older, I kind of like I'm over that. Or I don't know, is it because I'm a father now that I don't care to be watching those gory stuff anymore?
Yeah, well, no, you had daughters. I mean,
Yeah.
you used to watch
Oh my goodness. They would
House
tell
of a
you.
Thousand Corpses with your daughters.
Well, that was
20-something-year-old.
that's where I'm going with that one. So when House of a Thousand Corpses first came out in video, I remember buying it and I had to watch it again because I actually went to the theaters to watch it by myself, and then I wanted to watch it, and I thought I was by myself watching it late at night. I mean, literally late at night, and I heard noise and it scared the crap out of me because I lived out in the woods at that time, and so
Middle of nowhere.
scared shitless,
Virginia.
and yeah, and I get up and I'm moving slowly, and then I see her crouching, watching the movie, and I was like, "Oh no, baby, no, tell me no." I was like, "No, you didn't come here." I had to hold her and tell her that it's fake and explain the whole parent thing of these are actors, they get paid, they use like some special makeup and prosthetics, and I had to explain it, and she kind of had I want to say she had nightmares, but I don't think she did. She was kind of like whatever, but she watched it, like she watched.
But she was a horror baby.
Yeah,
She loved horror stuff growing up.
yeah, guess so.
In the
Now that I
end,
think about it, yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's something she enjoys now as a young adult for sure. And I remember her enjoying those things as a teenager.
Well, I mean, even our baby. I mean, we just talked about it. She watched the Halloween movies, the timeline number 4, I guess, the new timeline. She watched it with us, and she understands that Daddy likes Mike. I mean, I have, the
But we've
mask, I
also
have
had to explain to
toys.
her that they're all actors. None of it is real.
Yeah, I show her the people behind the makeups and the masks. I show her pictures of them, and
Yeah.
she understands that.
And we used to, we've watched enough of those like makeup shows,
Mm-hmm.
where for all the kids to help demystify.
Well, and we
Movies.
took her as a baby to Monster Palooza too, right?
Yeah, she was a baby.
Well,
Like she was
she's
so well
exposed to
behaved
it.
that day. But yeah, she saw the monsters and she saw, I don't know that she understood what was going on. She was just with mom and dad, but she was so tiny. She was only a few months old when we went. She wasn't even 1, I think.
So on that note, right, we both enjoy horror movies. I mean, Hannibal Lecter is another one of my favorite
Oh, yeah, I
characters.
love Hannibal.
He's up there next to Mike, I think, in my
Yeah.
book. If anything, next to Mike, like if I had to pick top 3, it has to be Mike, Hannibal, and Otis
Okay.
for me.
Why Otis?
It's just I like what he has to say. Like at that moment in time, his point of view, his makes sense.
Does it still make sense to you now?
I will have to rewatch them to see if it makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, because
Right.
I mean, literally, our kids don't know those movies at all. They don't.
Well,
don't
and
know
that was our
anything
thing. We were
about
gonna
it.
get to that point where that's where I was headed. That like you and me enjoy scary stuff. scary movies.
Yeah.
Halloween, but and our kids like Halloween because to them, they think about the Day of the Dead. They think about loved ones and costumes and candies and dressing up, having a good time. They see some of the scary stuff, but they don't like scary movies, or they didn't like.
Yeah,
Especially our oldest, we used to get mad, like, dude, at your age, I watched this. Come on, watch this with us. And like, no, and they always disappear whenever
Yeah.
we will put some scary movies on.
And even if we watch them now, they don't really pay attention because they have a phone or they got a video game in their hand. So their attention isn't really focused on the movie. If it's a part that they don't like or they don't care to watch, they just don't focus on it. They just don't pay attention to it at all. So that I don't think that helps either.
Right. Yeah.
Or maybe, I mean, it helps them, but it takes away from the experience
It
of
helps
watching.
them get through it. I think our daughters definitely do have it. They're more interested in watching. I don't know if it's because
I think
we tell
they're
them they're
curious.
not allowed. Yeah.
So, bad parenting move maybe. Our 8-year-old for Halloween is going to be Ghostface, but a bedazzled version of Ghostface. And she came out of nowhere asking to be Ghostface. At least nowhere for me, because I didn't even know she understood who Ghostface was. And I don't really think she did when she asked to be it, because afterwards she asked to watch Ghostface. We let her watch the Scream movies, and so that she understood where the character came from. And of course, we're explaining it's not real. They watched all of it, like both girls, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I've never watched the Scream movies. That's one movie I never cared for.
You never cared for Scream, yeah.
So because of that costume, we started watching the newer ones, the last ones.
The last two.
And that led us to start watching the originals. And now I've introduced the boys to scary movie.
Yeah, not the girls. The
No,
boys
the
watch
boys,
Scary
1 and
Movie.
2. They're both teenagers, so.
And that's crazy that we actually came to the consensus that we would rather the girls watch Scream than Scary Movie.
Because
it's so raunchy.
It's not as bad as those scary movie ones. I mean,
It's just because there's the sexual portion of it. Like, Scream has, senseless killing, but for some reason in our heads, boobs and dicks in our daughters' faces are worse than, someone killing somebody. I don't know what's wrong with us in that sense. I'm sure it sounds horrible to others, but for us, that's okay. It's better.
yeah. I was just tripping out. I'm like trying to find like Otis quotes, and I'm like, dude, I don't think I want to say any of them.
I'm like, what did you like about Otis? Because I just remember you were really into House of a Thousand Corpses back then. Again, if you guys didn't hear me before, this is 19 years ago, because that's how long we've been together. But it's, it was before we had our own kids, and your daughters came around, only on the weekends. So we had a lot of time alone, and you got to watch those movies. I, on the other hand, I'm not a big, gory, scary movie person. I like classic monsters and classic scares. I'm more about... I love the Conjuring stuff more because it's... metaphysical.
Those are pretty good. Oh yeah, those are pretty good.
I mean, it's got some scary moments, but the whole metaphysical portion of it.
The whole Annabelle ones are the ones that mess me up. I think.
Oh,
those
Annabelle
are the ones
sucks.
Those are the ones that I said, oh shit.
Yeah, one of them did really get us. It made us jump, and we were like, wow, that's a really good scare.
Yeah, like there was one of them where I got chills, and I was like, wow, like I don't get that from movies very often.
Yeah.
The gory stuff, it's not just the gore. That's not my favorite part. Maybe at that time in my life, that's what I liked, or that's what I was into.
Yeah, and we all change.
It was like, I was such a Rob Zombie fan back then. I was so into Rob Zombie. Maybe that could have been, a big factor that, Rob Zombie made this movie.
You're just a fanboy?
Yeah, being a fanboy. And I was like, I enjoy his music. Because, Rob Zombie and White Zombie, what did they do? They take samples out of all those classic horror movies. Bela Lugosi and the Creature from the Lagoon and Frankenstein and
The
all the Vincent
monsters.
Price. Yeah, they did that. It was part of our childhood, and being from a Mexican background, like we grew up with that. Well, I grew up with it because we had like the wrestlers. Like wrestlers were like movie stars. We had Santo and Tinieblas, and they're always and Blue Demon. They're always fighting some monster.
Some
Las momias
monsters.
de Guanajuato
We always
contra
say
las
we have
Blue
to show the
Demon.
kids those movies.
Yeah, and they were scary, Santo contra Dracula or something, like
Like the Scooby Doo versus.
yes, and
yeah.
and that was another thing, right? We grew up with Scooby Doo, and there were always monsters, but it was always a logical conclusion at the end. It was somebody in disguise with some mechanics or anything like that. But they planted those seeds. I mean, there was a reason why Supernatural went on for as many years as it did. I mean, deep down inside, we all want to be scared. We all need that, I guess, endorphin, that chemical release.
But there's some people who don't like my brothers. My brothers hate scary movies. They do not watch scary movies on purpose, but they do like military movies, and they like adrenaline
because that killing has
action movies.
Yeah, because those killings have a reason behind it, right? There's good
Yeah.
versus evil, like
The right versus wrong.
right versus wrong, like liberty and freedom. But when it's like a horror movie, it's evil winning because it's killing innocent people or good people or however you want to be, however it's portrayed in the movie, right? It could be most, and the funny thing about horror movies is it's usually a religious point of view going through it.
Well,
You're a sinner.
Like in the Conjuring franchise, I mean, yeah, it's all very much linked to
demons,
angels, and religion,
right? Yeah. So that's where they go with, and that's why it always comes down to fate, right? And people are like, "Oh, you're inviting evil into your life or whatever."
Yeah.
But those are inspired by what possessions and exorcisms and
real
everything.
life cases of it.
Exactly, and that's the thing about the Conjuring universe that makes it, I think, scary is the fact that these are actual cases.
Yeah, these are things that
churches
happened.
involved. Yeah, these are real people. Like those artifacts exist.
Yeah,
and they're in a museum, which is their old house. So that's what makes it extra creepy, right?
Yeah,
you get that extra, like, oh, that should happen.
Yeah.
So you're curious to see what happened.
Yeah.
So what are we gonna do now with that stuff continuing, and those people are not here anymore to handle that evil?
Well, I mean, that's why they have their estate. I don't even know. I think their daughter manages. I don't remember. I haven't
looked it up.
detail.
Yeah.
But I mean, they say that even now, priest still comes and blesses the house, twice a week or something like that, to try to keep. And that the reason that the museum exists is because, and the reason they didn't destroy the artifacts is because if you destroy the artifact, then you release the evil that's inside that artifact.
Yeah, it's something that's holding it and keeping it in one place.
So,
just destroying that artifact is not gonna.
Yeah, you're not gonna, because
evil.
you're gonna release the thing back into the world,
right?
And now it can go and possess and hurt someone else or something else. So
yeah, it's bound to something, right?
It's bound. Yeah, right now that it's bound, it's better for it be bound than to be free. And I get that theory, right? Because there's thousands of stories throughout history where some evil was bound by something else, right? Even in Fern Gully. Remember Fern Gully, the movie? Where the fairy bound Tim Curry's character into the tree. And it wasn't until the humans come and cut down the tree that they release him back into the world. And now he's going to go, destroy. Anyways, if anybody's ever seen Fern Gully, you know this reference. But it's the idea that, things can hold evil. Or even a genie in the bottle, right? Right? You put the genie in the bottle and you have to release it, right? Mm. And it's not always a good genie.
Right. So, that's right. Or the djinn.
And djinn. Yeah. Scary movies.
Yeah. I mean, what for you? Like, what do you? As a kid, there was one movie that actually scared me, which is funny. It was just mainly one scene that scared the crap out of me, and it was on Lost Boys.
On Lost Boys.
Yeah, that whole bathtub with the holy water and the vampire that falls in there because the dog pushes him in.
Uh-huh.
That scene scared the crap out of me.
I don't know. I love Lost Boys.
Yeah, no, it was,
I don't
but
remember it
it's so funny.
scaring
Out
me.
of all the other crap I watched, like that had me.
I mean, Alien scared me, but
Alien didn't scare me. Alien just bored me.
Predator and Alien scared me.
Predator was an action movie to me.
Yeah. I mean, when I was a little kid. I'm not talking
Yeah,
about now.
I'm talking
When I was
about.
a little
I'm
kid.
talking about a little kid.
Oh,
I'm
well.
telling because I saw it like that. That's how I saw it, and that's how I stayed.
Okay, so my dad was okay with us watching Predator and Aliens,
Because it was aliens.
but we weren't allowed to watch scary movies like Friday the 13th or Jason or any of that stuff.
Well, because there wasn't as much nudity as there was on those movies. It was 80s movies. There was
Yeah,
always
that's
like
true.
gratuitous boob shots or
Yeah,
people
probably.
having sex.
Yeah,
In space,
guess
it's
so.
just people trying to survive these
The
aliens.
aliens and the predators.
And you got to
it's
think
just
about
monster-
it.
Yeah.
Aliens don't exist, right? Especially in a religious house. Aliens don't exist. Make believe. It's a, what if there's an alien?
Yeah, it's
life
another
form?
fantasy, sci-fi fantasy
But
stuff.
when you're talking religion and world and spirits and ghosts,
Possession
yeah,
and-
now you're messing with religion.
Even though
I'm not gonna let you watch that.
Okay, so question. Then is Michael an evil spirit, or is he like who's possessed? Is he a human who's possessed, or is he like evil incarnate?
That's the beauty of Michael. You never know.
Like, is it a mental issue? Like, is he just his brain's broken? Or does he have true evil in him? Like, could he have been exorcised?
Well, that's the beauty about Michael Myers. Is it's up to you. How do you want to see it? How do you want to perceive it? Do you think it is evil? Is it pure evil that drives him? Do you think that he's just a normal person, that it's in a psychological state?
I mean, they
that
cover
just
that,
doesn't
right?
know? Yeah, but every movie has done that. They cover everything, and they say it when it comes to like and I think three other timelines they cover it, that when he's in the mental institute, that they brought priests, they have exercised it, psychology, they've done everything to figure out what drives him. But he's just an empty canvas. There's no reaction to him.
There's no one home.
But that's why whenever they show him the mask or they mention the sister, there's some type of reaction.
Which makes it seem like a mental illness.
Right. See, and that's how I like to see it. Mm-hmm. It's a mental illness. He doesn't have special powers. It's like
He's just got super strength.
Well, and that's
And
why I was
clearly
telling
super speed, because
but
he always
he's
catches
smart.
up to everyone.
Yeah, but that's what I was telling our son. I was like, think about it. Like, they make fun of Michael, right? And he just stands there. And in the new timeline and the original timeline, when he's in a mental institute, he's not doing anything. He's just standing there, right? They have him chained up and everything. It's like, he's asleep, standing up. Comes nighttime, everybody's asleep. What is he doing? Probably working out. Doing all his calisthenics, doing aerobics, getting strong, healing. Because, I mean, he's been stabbed. He's been shot, got stabbed with a hanger and everything, right? And so they took care of him because he's in a hospital. They give him medicine. They do everything. But the whole time, how is he so strong? Because he's working out while everybody's sleeping. He's getting ready because he's like, it's a matter of time before I break out. And when he breaks out, he's going to do what he has to do.
Yeah, that's
right?
funny. Yeah.
And the original timeline, they try to make him like the Antichrist. I think it was by Halloween 6. So they went with the whole 666 and they used the Antichrist.
Oh, I think I remember something along
Yeah,
about
that's
Just trying
where
to explain why they can't kill him.
Yeah, exactly. And then on the H2O, like, oh, he's dead. Oh, no, she cut off the head of the paramedic that Michael punched in the throat and he couldn't talk. And he put the mask on him, used him as a decoy so that he could escape. And then he comes back to get her at the mental hospital, and she's been waiting for him. And he finally kills her. Which is why a lot of people had a problem with the H2O timeline.
Because he killed her.
Yeah, he finally gets her, and it was just in the beginning right away, and that was a pretty horrible movie, actually. The resurrection one, I was like, yo, this is not cool. And I think that's part of the reason why he became such a like laughing stock, oh, they're messing with our intelligence, they think we're stupid. They keep on finding a way to make him survive or live on, and I think that's why a lot of people don't care for Michael Myers. I think there's a reason why people are like, this is dumb, you're just making
Yeah, he needs to just die.
Yeah, you're taking us for a ride. and you're messing with us and you're insulting our intelligence and like this is stupid. At least the other ones are zombies or they're dead or they're demonic. Chucky's on a soul's on a toy.
Well, in the original version, right? Chucky's the soul of a crime, a criminal, a serial killer. And in the new version, he's a robot. It's just he's like a virus. He's bad programming.
Right, something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, those are explainable. At some level.
Freddy Krueger, right? It was a child molester who gets murdered by the parents, and he's in hell, and he haunts everybody.
His
in their
spirit
dreams.
Comes back basically to take
Jason
revenge.
Voorhees is dead, and he's a zombie, and he's killing everyone.
Yeah.
Right,
because of his mother's love for him. I guess.
The black magic that he did or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Hellraiser, Pinhead, he's a gatekeeper for hell. Right, and it's all lost.
Gosh, I remember being so scared. I was afraid of Hellraiser till I resaw it as an adult.
Was that right? What a waste! We saw that together because I was like, I don't want to watch that. I hate Hellraiser. It's so, and I was like, no, this is a bunch of horn dogs. Just it was S&M.
It was just a bad movie. It was just like, I can't believe I was afraid of. I mean, you can believe it because you're a child and you're innocent, or not a child, but you're younger and you're innocent and you don't understand. And he's scary. He was portrayed to be scary, but then you see it through an adult's eyes who gets it, and it's like, this is just a total waste of time. So he's not that bad. It's just gross. Yeah.
So there was all these things. The Poltergeist, right? Poltergeist was a big hit because of what?
Because it was religious too, but that also touches on religion. Yeah. I mean, and again, those religious ones, it's because it's tied to something that people believe in, right? Believe in God. If you believe in the good, then you believe in the evil. If you believe in God, you believe in the devil. The powers of each, right? So interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's why you like Michael then. Anything else on Michael before we?
No, I don't know. If you want to, if you ever want to make me happy, just and then another thing I think that make Michael popular again is that damn dad.
The
Michael,
one who dresses up and does the music on the.
Was it Michael Myers of Decatur or something like that? Mm-hmm. He's hilarious. I love his videos. I really enjoy his videos. I love where he's gone with the character.
Okay. The wife always yelling at him.
Yeah, and now he's got the kids doing it. He's entertaining, but it's nice to see somebody else like Mike. And it's just simple, it's just a mechanic's jumpsuit and a William Shatner white painted
mask. Which you own.
Yeah, 2 of them.
Someone has started collecting Michael Myers masks.
I want to get the Ralph Zombie ones next. I think. No.
Yeah. I think in the last year or two, we've started to get more Michael Myers things. And we even have like a Michael Myers blow-up doll outside. And you have your mask.
And our daughter enjoys it. She's like, Daddy, why do you like Michael so much? It's why is this? And it's just, there's so much stuff now. Like it's out
everywhere.
There.
We had that. Oh yeah, we got to find the kids were telling me, where's our little Michael? The one who dances. It's that little one who dances around.
Right. And that's what a Walmart find. You're like, what? It's so freaking cute. I want it. Like, I'm going to get it.
They've turned all the monsters cute.
Yeah.
Like the little plushes that they make out of them.
Right. I mean, we were just at Spirit not that long ago, and we saw that. How they make those scary babies that are eating or covered in ants or spiders or whatever. Yeah. And now they have like the horror characters on that, and I'm like, I want the Michael one.
Our 16-year-old, he was walking around with a oh my gosh, what's the little character? Trick or Treat.
Oh, Sammy.
Sammy. He was walking around with a little Sammy like a baby. He was like, this is my child. It's like, he's mine. This is mine. Until our daughter, I guess, took it from him.
I showed.
It's like a $40 doll. I was like, no.
I showed our baby girl a picture of the actor that plays Sammy, and she's like, he's cute. I just thought that was hilarious.
Was it a child? I don't know who. Is it a child or
like a child actor,
a little boy?
Yeah.
And she said he was cute. I don't know who he is. Yeah. I haven't seen him.
Go real quick on Otis. The speech that he tells to the guy before he shoots him on that was rejects about you better pray to your fucking God and a miracle better happen within the next 2 minutes. I thought that was like a great speech and it was just hilarious. And as I'm thinking about it, like, what is it about Otis? I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that he was so sarcastic and straight to the point, and like in a way you kind of hate him, but at the same time, what he says makes sense. And
Okay.
so
I have to agree. I think it was just your mind, your state of mind at that time, and we all change. I mean, there's things I liked when I was a little girl that I don't necessarily love now, and I'm sure there's things that I've said or I've done now that I'll regret, in a few years, or I just won't care for anymore. I won't think like that anymore.
we go through phases, right?
Yeah, we go
It's
through
like the
phases.
and,
Yeah.
and it's things that it's chapters in our lives, I guess, that we go through.
They teach us something. So like, I don't know, the scary stuff, I think we're always going to like it one way or another. I imagine unless something horrendous happened to us because of the scary things, then that would maybe be the only thing that would deter us in the
Yeah.
future. But
I think,
we have our ghost stories
Yeah.
and we've had our true life experiences with the spirit or metaphysical world, but nothing too drastic.
I think it's not the fact that we love to be scared, but it's something that sometimes as humans we need to be scared because it reminds us
Of our humanity.
of our humanity and our fragility. So sometimes, being afraid of accidents or going out somewhere or being a character, I think deep down inside, everybody kind of enjoys being scared or being reminded of how fragile our life is going to be, and consider it a motivation or to appreciate the time that we have and the loved ones that we have. So it could be one of those things, I mean, if we're talking about people enjoy it, or are intrigued by it, like we said, museums. I mean, just look at Netflix. Every time they drop something that's scary or a documentary about a murder or like you said, murder podcast, like everybody watches it. Everybody talks about it. I mean, we had it with Dahmer, right? Everybody was losing their mind, but how many people watched that Dahmer?
Yeah, I don't think we finished.
We never finished.
We
it.
didn't
Yeah.
finish it.
And then there was the Menendez brothers one that just came out, and so many people were criticizing it, but so many people watched it.
Yeah.
And why? Because those are things that actually happen. And now I'm seeing videos on Instagram about parents using their kids, dressing them up as like the Menendez brothers. And, we told them they couldn't have ice cream. And, now they're like getting shot at, making like skits about it and everything. So it's like, why, if it's so wrong, why would you do it? Mm-hmm. Right? Why would they show it?
Yeah.
I mean, eventually, sometime, maybe the way the world's going, all that stuff is going to go away, and it's going to be like this is desensitized. They're going to try to blame it for something, People.
I mean, that's always happened. I mean, there's lots of things in history, like on television. I think we covered this in one of the episodes where, you weren't allowed to say or do certain things on TV once upon a time, or even on the radio. And as the years have passed, they've, given passes to things. And now we're at where we're at, where there's so many things that are no longer taboo in the media. I mean, granted, there's other things that, people try to censor, but as far as things that one could say corrupt the mind, or make you think dark thoughts, those things are no longer censored. That's maybe a different podcast. That's maybe a different conversation, but
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
it's along the lines of desensitizing everyone, to the blood and the gore and the grotesque things in life. So,
Yeah.
anyways.
Well, there you go. I mean, yeah. So, yeah. Well, like I was going to say earlier, anytime you want to make me happy or just make me, follow you anymore, just buy me anything Michael Myers and I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
I was like, it's just a thing. I it's one of those other things. Like, I couldn't show that, and I wasn't around, and maybe now that I'm older, I just appreciate it even more, or it takes me back to that part of my life.
Maybe.
where-
Yeah. It's like takes you back. Yeah, I agree. It takes you back to being younger and the things you enjoyed when you were a little boy.
Yeah.
Or
And
a
I mean,
young man.
we're the same age, The movie came out at the same time when I was born. So,
Yeah. There you go.
As well as a connection there. And I don't know. I don't know. I just enjoy it. I just enjoy the
Yeah.
stupid white mask. I mean, I wore it last Halloween, and you saw people freaking out every time they saw me. And there was
Yeah,
that one lady that just sort of like, husband's like, come here. Like, I want you to talk to my wife. And the lady was in a wheelchair, and that wheelchair, all of a sudden, I'm pretty sure almost was going faster than an electric one.
Well, it doesn't help that you walk slow to begin with because
Yeah.
of your hips, but
And I get in character. Like, I
Yeah.
literally don't talk.
that's the thing about a costume, right? The whole point of a costume is to put you into a different character.
Yeah.
And then, some people run with it, which is why so many actors are convincing.
Yeah, I have to admit, I loved being Michael. I was just, for me not to talk, that's a big step. So, but just like tilting my head and kind of doing the body language, like that.
And he wouldn't answer if anybody talked to him when he's got the mask on.
Yeah, it was just that was, and so him, and when I dressed up as Lobo, I like really enjoyed it. Right?
Yeah, that year you were Lobo. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, because even your brother was like, "Who is this guy?" And I was still in character, and I was like, just being such a douche.
A dick.
Yeah. And then I saw a kid dressed up as Superman, and I went at him. I was like, "Hey, Superman!" Right? And the kid's like, "Well, you don't know who the main man is?" And he's like, "Huh?" He's like,
Yeah, no, they don't know Lobo. I don't think a lot of people know Lobo, but we can talk about Lobo another time.
So the old dudes did. Remember the
Well,
old men? Like, oh my God, it's Lobo.
Yeah.
I like you, old
Our
man.
our family tends to dress up in older type like things that our generation would know. Even our kids tend to dress up in things our generation would know,
Right.
not their own generation.
Our boy dressed up as Jared, and a lot of people were like, a lot of people didn't get it, but a
His
lot
age,
of girls
yeah.
your age were like, "Oh my God, it's
He's
the
Jared.
Goblin King,"
Yeah.
And then
Well, and our other boys,
was a Phantom,
Yeah,
and
Phantom
people,
of the Opera.
other dads was like, "Yo, Phantom,"
yeah, or he's been the Crow.
right? The Crow, and
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh, dude, what's up, Eric?" You know.
Yeah. So
And there's people that are like, well, he's a scary clown, Mom.
yeah, no, he's not. They're like, no, he's not. So, all right, babe. Well, thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, thank you for joining us on this little conversation about the shape.
Listening.
Oh yeah, listening to the conversation about the shape and random little things that we liked. I never got to ask you though. What would be your top, I guess, Halloween characters for you that you enjoy, be in fantasy or whatever?
Oh, jeez, I haven't really
Thought about it.
thought
Like
about
if I
it.
tell
I
you,
mean,
like, pick 3 movies that we have to watch, like we'll go, or 3 franchises for Halloween time.
gosh darn it. I feel like we did this last year.
No,
We probably did this last year, and I don't remember what we said.
I'm sure we drafted Halloween movies. I know that.
Let's see. Well, I'm going to add Conjuring
Yeah,
to
those are
our
great.
list because all those have been great. Like that, just franchise in general. I've been wanting to watch 13 Ghosts lately.
Right.
That one's pretty dang scary.
13 Ghosts. Is
But
that the one with the house where the rich guy that trapped ghosts?
The guy who used to trap ghosts. And
Wasn't that gory too?
yeah, kinda. I don't remember. It's actually been such a long time since I've seen it. It's just something
So
I've
that's
been
what you
wanting
wanna
to
watch.
watch.
All right. Well,
And let's see. I'm gonna have to watch some classic scary movie at some point. I just don't know which one, but I mean, Wolfman's always good. Oh, I love the Wolfman with Benicio del Toro and Anthony Hopkins. I absolutely love that version of the werewolf.
that was a good one. I like it too.
But and I'm sure we'll have to watch it at some point before the season's over. So I guess those would be my top 3 for now.
All right. Perfect. Well, everybody knows for me is Halloween. That's
Halloween, and Halloween.
yeah, because I mean we got 5 timelines there. Well,
Yeah.
technically 4
All
timelines.
the different versions. Even though we've been on this whole Scream thing. So Conjuring and Scream have been our movies this season so far. And the scary movies franchises. But we still need to finish
The Conjuring. We got one or two
we got
left.
one more left. It's just we've been so busy. On the weekends, we haven't really had time to finish our movie marathons. So, But okay.
Alrighty
Well,
then.
thank you for listening to us, and you guys have a spooky holiday, and we will talk to you guys hopefully. Well, you'll hear from us before the end of the season.
Yeah, before Halloween.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.